Hi, welcome to episode 61 of the Lina Knits podcast, my podcast about knitting. I'm Melina and I'm coming to you from my home in Helsinki, Finland. I'm so happy that you're here and choosing to spend a bit of time with me. This week, or in this episode, I've got a whole lot of finished objects. Yes, I've finished things. The last episode I filmed, episode 60, was called a whip audit, where I went through all of my works in progress, and I think it really worked. I wanted to just get those things done. I've also finished a couple of new designs that are about to be released, so yeah, let's get into it. First off, what I'm wearing. This is one of my finished objects. So this is the Confetti Sweater by Veera Välimäki. And I knit this, where did I put the yarn? I did put them somewhere. They're here. I knit this using two different fingering weight superwash merino yarns. So the blue one is by Porsche Yarns, and my grayish weight is by Fiddle Knits Fibers. The Porsche Yarns is their Esme sock base, and you can also see the colorway name there. Ring with the azure while he stands, but the way Porsche Yarn works is they don't repeat their colorways, so they just dye up a bunch of their yarn for each shop update, which they have every week, and they have about 10 of each, but I'm sure they're doing a lot of other blues. So anyway, this is silk yarn that's 100% merino. It has 400 meters, 440 yards in 100 gram skein, and I used 2 of these, and the other one is the Fiddle Knits Fibers Polka in the colorway Diamond, and this one also has 100% merino and 400 yards, so 360 something meters per 100 grams. So it was a bit thicker, but you really can't tell. And yeah, the way I did this, I knit the body first. Well, that's what the pattern tells you to do. But anyway, then what I had left of the blue one, I put it in 2 balls. So I measured it out, and then I just knit the sleeves for as long as the yarn let me, keeping within the striped pattern, of course. So I really didn't have just 2 or 3 meters left of that blue one, and a bit, I'd say I have about 15 grams of the white one. So 2 skeins of the main color, 1 of the contrast color, and they gave me nice 3/4 length sleeves. When I was knitting it, it has those increases in the body, so it's like a bell-shaped sweater. When I was knitting it, I was a bit worried it was getting too wide, but once I blocked it, the fabric really drapes beautifully, and I think it looks really nice. And I've already worn this once when I had an evening meeting for one of my work projects, and I really liked it. It actually took me pretty much 1 year to knit this. Now I can't remember the exact dates, but say I started it in the 5th of October last year, and I finished it on the 4th this year. So pretty much exactly 1 year, most of it in hibernation. Nothing wrong with the pattern, it just lost steam on it. So really happy with this new one. Yeah, and the color scheme, why I use blue and white, is because they're the colors of the Finnish flag, so they're sort of my patriotic colors. Well, not so, they are patriotic colors for me. And for some time now, I always wanted to have a blue and white striped something, so I decided to knit myself one. So this is it. I got that tea from Italy. I found a really nice tea shop in Rome just behind Pantheon. And this one was one of their house blends. Black tea and oolong and a bit of spices. So it's perfect for autumn and the winter that's to come. All right, moving on. If I did finish something else, well, this one was pretty much finished the last time I podcasted. So this is my cotton summer top. So what I hadn't done last time was to seam these. So I'd knit everything and blocked it, and even woven in the ends, but I hadn't seamed the side seams, and then there was a bit of edging the knit on the armholes. So yes, this is now also finished. Like I explained in the previous episode, I ran out of the blue color, so this is the way the pattern tells you to knit it, and this is my version of it. And I also needed to do these a bit shorter to have even this much of the blue yarn on the back. Now I didn't use the yarn specified in the pattern, so that might explain it. What I used was Eco Cotton Nurturing Fibers Eco Cotton in Mist and Watershed. And this pattern is from the issue 25 of Pom Pom magazine, and it's called Nasreen, and it's by Lana Joyce, and this is how it is in the magazine. It had two versions, the long one and then the cropped one that I did. And this one used Quince & Co. Willet, which I couldn't find anywhere in Europe. So I chose not to order it from the States. It would have been quite expensive with the with postage and the custom charges. So instead I used this one. Again, when I was knitting it, I was a bit hesitant of whether it was going to be something I'd like wearing, but I really enjoy it. I had a bit of trouble with the seaming, since you seam the stripes that go like horizontally like this to a fabric where it's knitted diagonally, so they behaved a bit differently, which resulted in not completely even sides, but I don't think you can tell since it has these vents, so it moves anyway. And what else did I want to say? So if I were to knit this again, I would pay more attention to the very edge stitches and make sure that I knit them nice and loose, since cotton doesn't have that much give. Of course, it's garter stitch, so it does have some give now, but in general. But yes, so this summer I started a linen top and a cotton top, and I finished both of them, and I really enjoyed knitting them. I thought I was just like a wool knitter, but I did enjoy knitting with these plant fibers as well, so might be more of those next summer or next spring. But now definitely all about the wool again. And then something else that that was pretty much finished the last time I filmed, it's my Halla hat. Now this is one massive hat, but it's super warm. So this pattern is by Jonna Hietala. So Jonna is part of the Line magazine team, but this one is her own pattern, so it's available as a single pattern only as a single pattern on Ravelry. So this is a two-color brioche hat. You combine different fingering weight yarns held together with sort of a fluffy yarn. I used Suri alpaca, and I think that's what the pattern uses as well, but some people I know have used mohair and whatnot. So just the contrast of texture and the blend of colors. And I just used odd ends that I had. I can't even remember what they were, but I have a lot of fingering weight scraps, so I used them on here. I think you need about 30 grams of one color. This is one warm hat. I love them. Cannot wait for the really cold weather to be able to wear that. And I also crocheted. I have finished the second seat cover cushion warmer thing. I don't really know what to call these. Yeah, so I haven't started a third one yet, and I think I will focus on the crochet blanket a bit more. And there's something about it that I don't quite like, so I need to figure out what to do with it, but that'll be my next crochet thing. And in the meanwhile, I'm just collecting scraps. So for these I use pretty much all the other scraps except fingering weight that I have. So I'm gonna be starting a third one at a later date, not yet. And I also finished one more thing. Yes, I think that's already 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a fifth. I finished the Bluebirds of Happiness hanging thingy that I was doing. This one I did out of my hand spun yarn. So when I started spinning, I purchased those packs of small bits of fleece, or what's it called, small bits of fiber that you can practice spinning on and try out the different fibers. So this is one of those, and also what I got from friends. So these are some of my very first hand spuns, and I wanted to use them somehow, so I started knitting these Bluebirds. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and yeah, and then I stopped. I had 2 bats spun up, but I didn't knit them, and then there was the assembly, and it stayed that way for over a year, maybe 2 years. And guess how long it took me to actually finish it, knit the 2 birds, stuff them, and do the assembly? Like 2.5 hours. Ridiculous. I mean, how lazy can I be? So it's now hanging up in a downstairs bathroom. Maybe that's an odd place to put something like that in, but it's a bathroom where we also, that's very functional. So if our clothes get wet outside, like my son comes home after a rainy school day, he hangs his clothes there to dry. It houses our recycling, or some of it. So it has these plastic bins that we fill with recycling. So it's very functional, and I also really want it to be a cozy place. Like I want every place in my home to be cozy. So yeah, so I've added, there's my cross stitch now, there's the hanging birds, and there's that tiny window there, and I want to do another macrame holder for a flower or a plant, just put it there as well. I still have more finished objects actually. I finished some designs. I'm just gonna briefly show them to you because I'm gonna do the separate videos for these as well. But I know that some people like it when everything's in one place. So this one is called Cloud Shadows, and actually it matches my top pretty nicely. This is being test knit at the moment and will be released at the end of this month. And it's a bias knit triangle shawl with stripes and lace. and it's really fun to knit. So I used Old Maid & Ann's 100% Superwash Merino Foreplay in Ocean and Dreg. Ocean being the blue one and Dreg being the gray one. And I really like it. So this one is out by the end of October. If you want to know when I release new patterns, you can sign up for my email list at linaknits.com/Liz. I send out newsletters about pattern releases, sneak peeks of upcoming patterns, test knit calls, and anything else that happens to be going on in the Lina Knits Designs part of my business. The other pattern that I've finished, actually several samples for, is my Memory Keepers hat. So this is size large. This is a really nice slouchy hat. And this is size, oh, my hair's all messed up. I hope it's not too distracting. This is size M, and this is the smallest size. Let me put them like this. So the height of the two largest ones is the same. This one is also shorter, and the width is different on each of them. So if you've seen my Memory Keepers shawl, you know that this is a similar, you'll see that this is a similar idea. So you have one base color. For this one I had purple, and for these two I had white. And then you use mini skeins or scraps as the second yarn. So 2 fingering weight yarns held throughout. And as you can see, the color options are endless, and each hat will look unique. So look for that one. Also, I thought, since it seems you guys really like the Memory Keepers shawl, I'm hoping you like the hat pattern as well. I thought maybe it would be fun to have a knit along for the Memory Keeper patterns, or Memory Keepers patterns. So for both the shawl and the hat, once the hat is released, what do you think? Would you be interested? Let me know in the comments below, or message me on some other platform. But yeah, so if we do that, how long do you think it should be? These will be out in November, and the pattern's obviously ready now. So it can be at any point. I was thinking mid-November would be a good time. So should it be 1 month, the end of the year? What do you think? And if we do a knit along, I think we also need prizes. So I need to start sorting those out if there's interest in the knit along. Again, if you have any ideas on what would be a good prize, if you have prizes you might want to donate, let me know. Let's start thinking about this. I think it could be fun. Okay, I've knit 3, but I could do many more. This one is really addictive. And it's such a good feeling to use up yarns that you don't know what, you wouldn't have known what to do with otherwise. And just seeing all of those memories. Like this one, I've used yarns that I've knit socks for my family. This one had mini skeins that I've gotten in a swap. And this one is a combination of, well, no, these ones were also mini skeins from a swap. Yeah, so really, I'm really happy seeing them like knit up and being used. And this one's for my son, so once the pattern's out, he'll get this and he can start using it. So yeah, that was a lot of finished objects. Mind you, most of those were pretty much finished the last time you saw them. And then I've got some new webs and also progress on an old web. Can you guess what it is? It's in here. So I actually continued on these scrappy socks. I think last time I was here, so I've done a good bit. Now I don't remember the order of the mini skeins, so this was a project I started last December with an advent calendar where I got minis from different people and I sent minis to different people, so I just didn't get them. It was part of a swap as well. So I knit these in the order that they came from my advent calendar, but now I've forgotten the order, so I have all of them in here in the back. So I'm just pulling one out whenever I need to introduce a new color in here. Yeah. So that's progressing. It's the only sock project I have on the needles at the moment. But then on to the new webs. Because when you finish this much, you can start new ones, right? So the latest issue of Liner, isn't it gorgeous? So many beautiful patterns again in this one, but the one I had to cast on immediately was a worsted weight cardigan. See, it's called Sode. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. Sode, by Hiroko Pain, and it's this really nice, cozy, heavily cabled cardigan. And yeah, if you watched my podcast for any amount of time previously, you know that for about a year at least I've talked about wanting to knit a new worsted weight cabled cardigan to replace my old and very worn cardigan, worn out cardigan, I mean. So I started this one. This is how much I've done. It's not a lot, but this is really slow going, also really difficult to show. So you start from the top and you work your way down. So I'm still increasing for the fronts and the sleeves, but yeah, no, those cables look awesome. Just so many different kinds. It's full of texture. Definitely not the easiest knit, so I think I can only manage 1, 2, 3 rows at a time before I need to put it down and knit on something less complicated, but I'll get there. Actually started this twice because I started it knitting. I think I started knitting the size S, but then I got to try on the sample, and that was size XL, and I loved it. It was so cozy, like a hug. So I ripped back and started again, and I'm now knitting size L. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. And the yarn that I'm using is, I don't think any of these have tags because this is the repurposed yarn. So I had the poncho and then I frogged it and repurposed the yarn. So this is Cascade 220. Don't know the colorway. I've also got, so I've got 4 skeins of this color, and then I've got 4 skeins of this blue one, but I'm not gonna use the blue. I'm gonna dye the blue one. So I'm gonna use this for as long as it lasts. Yeah, so I need to dye this, and I think I'm gonna try to dye this into a brown shade as well. green would be another option, but I think I'll try with the brown. Wish me luck. If it doesn't work out, I'll get Cascade 220 in some other color. But yes, so that is one of my whips, and I think this is one that you will be seeing time and time again, because it will take me a while to finish it. The other whip is also something that requires a whole lot of yarn. And this is also from Line. This is an older issue. It's issue 3. The cover looks like this. And the pattern that I'm knitting is called Traced, and it's by Jennifer Steingast. It is a color work sweater. Let's see. There. And I'm using the yarn recommended in the pattern, which is Lopi by Eastex. So this is also worsted weight. Where does it say? There. It comes in 50 gram skeins, and they have 100 meters and 109 yards. I'm really sorry if you can hear that low noise. They're doing some yard work with heavy machinery in the house next to us. I think I need to stop. I'm gonna continue soon. I'm really sorry about that one. I hope it wasn't going on too long before I realized it, and I hope you couldn't hear it that well, or that it didn't bother you. They seem to have stopped for the time being, so I'm gonna try to get through what I still have to show you before they start again. Right, so where was I? Let Lopi. Yes, I actually did a vlog about visiting my local yarn store to get this yarn, because I never go there. It was like a new experience for me. Now I do go there, but just not really that often. So I decided to vlog it just to show you what it's like. But the vlog isn't up yet. I went there last Thursday. I went there on Tuesday, and I haven't had time to edit the vlog, so it'll go up sometime next week. But you get to see the yarn already. Anyway, so Tresa, I chose this one as my main color, and this is 1420. I think when I added this to my Ravelry stash, it's the colorway is called Murky, and it is. It's a lovely, lively, murky brown. And then for the colorwork part, I chose this combination. There were so many colors to choose from. I really could have stayed there picking out the colors for 100 sweaters. But I went with this one. I really wanted it to have green. So these are what my color will be. Very earthy. Nothing that pops up too much. Right, so I'm knitting the 3rd size. I want it to be a bit roomy. Because I really want to wear this when I go out in the winter, or autumn and winter, like walking in the forest, hiking, that sort of thing. So I need to be able to layer things underneath this, and have this as my outer layer, because Lopi yarn, it's non-superwash. It's very rusticy, very woolly wool. So once knitted up, it has water repellent qualities. Also, it'll slightly felt together. I don't think that's the right word, but it forms a surface that's also a bit windproof. and definitely what you layer underneath it matters, of course. But yeah, so it should work really well even in colder climates. So want to do one for my autumn walks. They should go by pretty quickly since it is worsted weight yarn. I actually cast it on last night. So I bought the yarn on Tuesday, cast on Wednesday. That's like a record for me, must be. Didn't really get very far, and I actually think I need to start over because this, I can just get this over my head, like just, and I think it will really start to annoy me at some point. Obviously it would loosen up a bit with wear, but I still think I need to start over. I very rarely have the problem that my cast on is too tight, but this time I did. So I'm gonna start over, make sure I do the cast on super loose, and also need the next rounds really loose. This is only about an hour, less than an hour of work, so no big deal. Starting over now before I finish, and don't worry because I hate pulling it on my head. But yes, it has lots of yarn. I think 8 and 12 balls, 600 grams of yarn in total. So they live in this tote bag that I got, not this year, but the year before from Jyväskylä Knit Fest. Right, I think that is now everything this episode. It was a lot. I can promise you that next time there won't be as many things to show you, probably just my progress on the whips that I had today. And I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts on the Memory Keeper shawl and hat knit along if you're interested in that, because I do need to plan for that before the pattern's released if we want to do it. So let me know. Subscribe, like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon again. Happy knitting. Bye.